So the big question is this: how do you attract a masculine man as a masculine woman? Today I share with you 5 tips to create balance in your energies so that you as a masculine woman can attract a masculine man. My name is Joan Nwosu, and welcome to the Second Chances podcast, a love journey in black and white. Today I'm sharing a chapter or maybe a book from my own life of my journey from being predominantly masculine to becoming more feminine, and how that led me to attracting my own masculine man. And you can too. So for many years, or maybe decades actually, my identity was wrapped up in what many would consider masculine traits. These were boldness, confidence, assertiveness, independence. I was a go-getter. I thought I had life figured out. But when it came to relationships, disaster. Something just wasn't clicking. It took me many years to finally decide that maybe the problem was with me. And at that point, I was able to notice that there was a pattern. It wasn't that I wasn't attracting men. I was, but they just weren't masculine men. I was attracting men who were either too passive, very laid back, more on the effeminate side of things. And they were just not a right fit for me. There's nothing about right or wrong, good or bad. They just weren't a right fit for me and who I truly desired. So it took me a while to realize that maybe my energy was off. As I learned more about the feminine and masculine energy, I started to pay attention, and I realized that I was more in my masculine, and that was not attracting the type of masculine men that I desired, because there was no space in my life for a masculine man, which is what I truly wanted. So here are the 5 tips that I use to be able to shift from being predominantly masculine to becoming more feminine so that I could have a masculine man too. The first was around self-awareness. As is with everything else, it all starts with this deep introspection, right? This honest look at yourself. What are you more in, your masculine or your feminine? But maybe first of all is, what do you actually desire? Because there's nothing wrong with a man who's more feminine. We all have both energies, masculine and feminine. And you have to decide what is it that you desire. So once you've done that, and you're now looking at be more self-aware, if you're more in your masculine energies most of the time, then the chances are you're going to struggle to attract a masculine man. So realizing that, okay, I'm more masculine. Why am I this masculine? What am I trying to protect? What is it about this independence? Because that's what I did. I was so consumed with being independent that I wasn't showing any of my softer sides. It doesn't mean that these feminine energies don't exist in all of us. They do. But most times we're so focused on being this strong person on the outside that we forget to show the softer side inside of us. So the more nurturing, the more empathetic, the softer side that really attracts masculine men. So the first step is become self-aware and just pay attention to what energy are you in most of the time. The second one is to embrace vulnerability. For me, this was very difficult. I had an interesting upbringing, as we probably all did, and I just wasn't a vulnerable person because that was my own way of protecting myself. I decided I wasn't going to open up myself to anybody. I was just going to put up a front. I was only going to show what I wanted to show. I would not share my feelings. I would just be the strong person, this tower of strength who is unbreakable. And that's what I showed up as. And guess what? I just couldn't meet men who were masculine, right? Because I saw vulnerability as a weakness, whereas it's actually a strength. So for me, I had to give that up and become more vulnerable and allow myself to be seen, the real me, not just facade that I have put up for so long. The real me was now visible, and that way I was able to attract more masculine men into my life. The third tip, if you know me, you know I'm so keen on appearance, because it really did work for me. It really did shift a lot about my physicality and my behavior as well, because it's just something about the way you dress that just makes you act differently, right? So I started to explore other styles because I was a jeans lover. I only wore pants, and they had to, I wore a lot of black. Maybe once in a while I'll do some colors, but definitely not girly colors. Pink, no, I would not be caught dead in a pink outfit. But I started to really embrace softer colors, the pinks, the reds, the yellows, the blue, the orange. And I found that the more I dressed in these softer colors, my demeanor changed. I was more softer. I spoke gentler. I was no longer this hard, mean person. Even the way I walked changed. So that's one tip that you can help to start to trick your mind. I don't mean change your entire wardrobe. I'm just saying integrate some of these softer gentleness and warmth into your appearance as well. It really does make a world of difference. The fourth one is around communication. I was the one who was labeled that I would speak before I think, right? And I was always the one leading all the conversations. I wasn't a good listener because I was listening just to answer, because I was always the one with the quick tongue. I always had something to say. I always had a clap back for whoever came at me. So I had to learn how to be more empathetic, to listen more, right? And to actually be present when people are having a conversation with me. So now I could create a space for a man to actually lead the conversation and be heard, and not just this constant competitive nature about me, and where I would communicate in a way that wasn't very feminine, right? It was all the masculine energy, very strong, very, very, very harsh words were being used. So I became more mindful and conscious of my communication style. And that started to shift my energy, and I was able to have good conversations with more masculine men. And the last one is probably an unusual one, but probably the most important one, is cultivating inner happiness. There's something magical about happy people. There's something divine feminine when you're happy, you're connected, you're aligned, right? I started to focus more on things that made me happy, because when you're in a place of joy and peace, there's just something about you that just glows, right? When you take care of yourself, when you practice self-care and self-love, you're nurturing your inner femininity, and it just glows. It just shows. Anybody can see how radiant you are. People want to be around you. People want to find out more about you. They find you mysterious. If she's such a happy person, I want her in my life. I want this kind of peace and fun and joy in my life too. And it was very, very attractive. And it really, really helped me. Not being so serious all the time. Finding small ways. It doesn't have to be big things, but small ways to cultivate joy and happiness. Geez, big, big, huge, huge difference in my life. And it can be in your life too. And as I went through this journey, as I went through this 5 tips I've given you today, I'm telling you that I don't even recognize who I used to be. That person is no longer who I used to be. And this feels more comfortable. I used to think that the other person was the real me, but no, this feels more aligned with who I truly am, not what society has forced me to be. Because I hear a lot of women who are in their masculine say, oh, circumstances has pushed me here, but okay, it's pushed you there now, but you don't have to stay there. Right? I don't, there might be women who are naturally masculine, but I don't know that that's supposed to be our natural state. So if you know that you do desire a masculine man, then maybe it's time for you to let go and maybe unlearn some of those things that have forced you to be more masculine, and now start embracing more of the femininity which is already within you. It's not about you being something that you're not already. You are. It's there. But now maybe you have to be a bit more conscious and dig deep into balancing those energies so that you're more in alignment with who you truly are, the divine feminine. And once you do that, you will see the difference it makes in the kind of men that you're attracted and in your relationships too. So, finally, remember that embracing femininity doesn't mean losing your strength. No, it's about discovering the power that's already within you. It's there. It's always been there. Having the right balance is beautiful, and the balance is what will help you attract a person who complements all of you. And if it's a masculine man you desire, then you will get your masculine man. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Second Chances podcast, a love journey in black and white. Till next time, sending you love and light.